You will have heard me speak 2 years ago. I missed 2020. I'll be quick. I understand we're standing between you all and the lunch break. Things I'd like to talk about in this... Well, that's not right. There we go. Wonderful. In this session, first I'm going to take a very brief sidebar and talk about some other things that NTI is doing. Sorry. There we go. I'm not pushing hard enough. Then look at some of the safety data around transport and around the dangerous goods industry and bulk tanker industry in particular. And then very quickly, mostly to hand off to other presenters, talk about what I think we can do about it. So very briefly, formally on Thursday, we will launch 2 initiatives. The Better Business Hub, which is a home for all the stuff that I want to talk about on our website. It's already live. You can go there now, nti.com.au/Better Business Hub. We will just continuously be adding more resources and material to that site around transport safety, productivity, how to make your transport businesses happier and healthier. So please jump in there. Hosted on that website is an initiative funded out of a heavy vehicle safety initiative grant called the Business of Safety, looking specifically at technology, fatigue and leadership inside of the transport industry. A bunch of cool resources there that will continue to come out through to September, October. And finally, we run a monthly session we call our Lunch and Learn, where I grab the really smart people in transport and we have a chat for an hour and talk about transport related topics. The recordings and highlights are available via the Better Business Hub. There are 3 that every single person in this room should go and watch. 1 with Alan Pincott from Forestry Rollovers, 2 Shane Pendergast from Airbrake Systems, and 3, one that should go up today with Daryl Hutton, again out of Forestry, looking at how to use stability control data as a driver coaching and feedback tool, and you'll hear a lot more from me on that in future. So please go and have a hunt for those. So in terms of data, I use this slide all the time. This is how we are measured by others. Heavy vehicle involved, and involved does not mean caused, deaths per billion tonne kilometres. How many people are killed to move the freight task? And this is looking out over the last 15, 16 years. It's an overall positive trend. We are, for a given volume of freight, we are killing around 85% fewer people to complete that freight task. Again, noting involved does not mean caused. And we are probably, I don't have data for Sweden, who is the only other real contender, but we are probably the safest road transport industry in the world. And that is key. I believe as long as we can stay on or near that trend line, we should not be subject to any external regulatory interventions that we as an industry do not ask for. Unfortunately, there's a counter story to this. Heavy vehicle occupant deaths basically haven't generally shifted, sitting around 34 of our people dying in road crashes each year for the last decade, with a spike to 53 in 2019. So we are doing better in terms of safety, but our people continue to. That needs to be, as an industry, our single number 1 greatest priority is getting our people home safe every day. So this is really the nerdy slide, and I apologise here. You can tell the difference between the slides that my fantastic marketing team make and the slides that I make for myself. This is how I measure you, as opposed to how you are measured by others. What I have here is selected occupations and then analysis of crash frequency, which is left to right. What I call asset impact, what proportion of all of your trucks are destroyed or the value of your fleet is destroyed each year, and then cost per powered unit, cost per truck. And what this tells us, summarising, look at the little peach coloured dot in the middle. That's the average of all trucks in our portfolio. We're talking about a 20% lower frequency of crashes for DG tankers, fuel tankers, than for the average of all of our trucks. So you guys are already doing 20% better than the rest of transport, and for that you should be congratulated. The counterpoint to that is, despite having 20% fewer crashes, the cost per truck is 30% higher. And that we all know, that this is a low frequency, high severity industry. We have either very big fires or very big cleanup bills, or both, when these vehicles crash. And so overall, we're still not in front, we're behind. To counter the increased severity, we probably need to see a 40% lower than the industry average crash frequency for DG. But you are not, and I understand this room is tankers, not DG, but I also have a fair idea of who's in the room. You can see the outlier on this graph. I generated this data because there was a discussion in the Heavy Vehicle National Law Review that DG tankers should be subject to even more regulation because they're high risk. And what I was saying is, well, actually, no. By these measures, we should be concerned about dairy tankers because they are high risk. And I don't think there's any appetite for additional regulatory burden on milk tankers. I actually look forward to doing some work, hopefully, in that space in future. It's almost the perfect storm for crash risk. Unbaffled tanks on country B roads with part loads doing a time-critical freight task. There are opportunities to do better in that dairy space, and yeah, I hope to be a part of that, so keep your eyes open. Sorry. There we go. Now, so that's some cool numbers. Your numbers will be different. You'll have things like lost time injury frequency rates, et cetera, et cetera. The biggest risk here is that you start doing things to improve your data. Don't. Use your data so you can improve your risk management. Don't fall into the trap of what we want to see every month is green traffic lights on a diagram. There's a really fantastic WHS lawyer called Greg Smith. Find his book or contact me and I'll mail you my copy to have a read. I've done that for 3 operators so far already. That book is going to be the most travelled piece of paper in Australia. There we go. Now, what are we going to do about it? Your drivers are your single most important risk managers. You need to have an engaged, empowered workforce. The moment you start lecturing to them rather than speaking with them, you lose them and they are just ticking boxes and sitting behind the wheel. What we do poorly in transport is our people. We are the best in the world at trucks. My data proves it, but we are not great at our people. It makes me really happy to have that session later on today and seeing the work that Healthy Heads and Trucks and Sheds are doing. We're a proud supporter of that initiative. But to err is human. Your people will make mistakes. And that's why I'm very excited by technology like stability control, being in the trucks, being functional. It actually has to be working. If the light's on or covered by tape, it doesn't work. So you need to design systems that provide redundancy, that are tolerant of human error, and then give the best people possible so you use that error tolerance as little as possible. And the most important thing that I think we're missing in this space, through the intervention of EPA New South Wales, most of the people in this room will have some experience with stability control in their fleet. Most of us aren't listening to what it tells us. We're happy as long as the light's off, and that's it. It is the single richest source of data around your driver behaviour that exists. It's the only near-miss data that I really care about. If you haven't heard Shane Pendergast talk on this topic, find my Lunch and Learn video with him. It should change how you run your business. Really quickly here, noting I'm down to my last 90 seconds. Hopefully I can get this to work. Maybe not. There we go. So apologies there. Again, focus on your people. That's your first level of risk control. Don't lecture to them, support them. You need to, through use of electronic stability control data, give them another definition of what mastery looks like. Rather than I had a driver bragging to me how quickly he could get from Sydney to Lithgow over the Blue Mountains. I could not think of a worse measure of driving performance than driving that road fast. If you can go and say to them, our best drivers are our smoothest drivers that have the lowest brake wear and the fewest number of stability control interventions, you redefine what mastery is. I flagged 2 authors there. I'll get Rob to share this slide deck later so you can find them. This is the discussion you need to be having with your frontline managers. You're probably really good about talking to them about brake maintenance costs and about on-time deliveries. Talk to them about leadership skills. We have a really fantastic program called our Success Formula Traction program that goes into transport businesses and tries to measure and then influence your safety culture and employee engagement. If you're interested there, come find anyone in an NTI shirt later or grab me over the lunch break and I'm happy to have a chat. And yeah, use your electronic stability control data. We've had this there now for Sorry. What is it now? 6 or 7 years that EPA New South Wales have been requiring it. I estimate that less than 10% of our fleets are listening to what it tells them. All right, thank you very much for that. Thank you for the time. Look forward to any questions.
Thanks, Adam. Some good points. Use your data and don't lecture your drivers. You need to get them on side. So